15. Give it up for day 15.
K-R-A-B-B-Y-P-A-T. 1,320.
Day 23. Give it up for day 20.
6,650.
Day 30.
1,120.
Day
8,650.
Wait, what's going on? Whoa, whoa!
Shalom, lovers of burbs and politics alike. Today, in my first political video, I will be responding to the YouTuber known as Conservoblackness, and then later discussing the recent drama with the dinner Trump held for the college champions, and briefly covering the drama with Chris Hansen, because I want to. Oh, Conservoblackness, a newer YouTuber, and with his first serious video being one of the government shutdown, it's good to take a look on what he has to say on this issue. But first, a little background on the owner of the channel. It was a little hard to find this information since he's new, but I did my best research. Okay. Believe it or not, he is not fully conservative, as misleading as his name is. From what I got from his video, he aligns more to the middle than on the right. His Instagram, though, does not reflect this. And surprisingly, yes, I know, it's a shock to us all, he is indeed of African American descent. So, all that aside, let's get nitpicking on his first video.
Welcome, guys. I'm just gonna talk about the government shutdown. This is my very first episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. I love getting different perspectives, and I love talking to people. This first episode, I don't have anyone.
Hold up. First, he says he doesn't have anyone. You know what, man? I've been there, and I feel for you. But I'm not really sure how this applies to the video. But let's keep going.
I hope you guys enjoy. First, I just want to get like the basics down. And what a government shutdown is, it's when Congress doesn't approve of a bill and the resolutions don't match, and it results in a government shutdown where operations, agencies can't go to fruition due to refuses to sign a law or have.
I can't understand you. Go back to your country, white power.
What? I feel like this could have been said a lot more simpler than the way he put it. I mean, he said a government shutdown is when they don't sign a bill. Not really. A government shutdown is just whenever the government doesn't have funding. Like, here's a definition I found. A government shutdown happens when non-essential government offices can no longer remain open due to lack of funding. The lack of funding usually occurs when there is a delay in the approval of the federal budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The shutdown remains in effect until parties can reach a compromise and a budget bill passes. During a government shutdown, many federally run operations will halt. Some organizations may still stay open by running on cash reserves, but once these funds run on it, they will also close. Any office which does not receive funding from Congress would continue to operate during the shutdown. See, look how simple that's put, and how easy to understand that is. You know, and it's not just when they don't sign a bill, it's when there's a lack of funding. You know, in the sense of it would be Congress not approving of this year's budget. But that doesn't matter because a simpler explanation would be better used, you know, if he just stated the obvious and said that. And it's when the federal government doesn't have a source of funding, and in essence, without funding, it can't function when it shuts down. All right, let's see what he has to hear about the left's perspective.
Is what I would like to start on. Bernie Sanders argues that Trump is in the wrong. He claims Trump has told the American people several hundred times that Mexico will pay for the wall. Bernie Sanders addressed the whole motive for the wall is to prevent terrorists. Most Democrats view the wall as offensive and a waste of money. According to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the wall will cost around $21 billion, $600 million.
When he begins with the left's perspective on the shutdown, instead of showing a video of Bernie Sanders, he instead shows just a random man rambling about politics who obviously has dementia. Oh wait.
Pelosi states, sadly given the security concerns and unless the government reopens this week, I suggest we work together to determine another suitable date after government has reopened for this address. Nancy Pelosi is talking about how much the government shutdown is affecting people. One of the main branches that are being affected right now is the national parks, and yeah, people aren't getting their paychecks from stuff. So her main argument, at least what I've seen, is with people not getting paid and how that's affecting families like U.S. citizens because Trump has not allowed these to come to an agreement regarding this government shutdown and what to do exactly.
I get that that's her argument for ending the shutdown, but you never gave us her reason for being against the wall. I mean, for Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders, you know, he sure tells us why they are against the shutdown, like people not getting pay, and he also states like how much the wall will cost, but he never actually says why the Democrats are continuing the shutdown or why they wouldn't sign the bill at hand. You know, and he says he's going over the Democrats' reasoning for it when all he's doing is going over their reasonings for ending the shutdown and not for why they're against the border wall and the funding that initiated the shutdown in the first place. I can sit here all day and point out the mistakes he made in his videos and the things he didn't cover in his videos, but most of it is the same. It's that he doesn't cover why the Republicans initiated the shutdown in the first place. He doesn't initiate the reasons why the Democrats were against the wall or why the Republicans were in favor of keeping the shutdown. But other than that, I'd like to focus on the one good sliver in his video, on where he focuses what all these actions recently by the Democratic Party and why the actions of hyping up the Democratic shutdown and not agreeing with Trump's legislation is all really about. And what's it all about? Re-elections. Do you really think it's a coincidence that while during the power play by the Democratic Party to not include Trump's $5.7 billion border security increase to the budget, which might I add is only 0.1% of our whole annual budget, and then they can't use the excuse that it's because of debt and the price that it will cost, because when have the Democrats ever cared about how much money and or how much in debt the United States is? Might I remind them, it was a Democrat that was in office when our debt skyrocketed to $21 trillion. And really, it's not that hard to see. You don't have to dig very deep to see that Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Beto O'Rourke, Amy Klobuchar, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, and all the other Democratic candidates running have all announced their entry to the 2020 elections in this span of time. I mean, while some federal employees are vocal against Trump, the Democrats are using this as a ploy to incite anger against Trump. And the Democrats are using this as a way to continue negative media and pressure on Trump till the 2020 election. I mean, you could have seen this all year, but you can see their strategy has specifically changed ever since the government shutdown. Well, I mean, in my own words, this is only the beginning. They use an event like this, like the shutdown, to condemn other things he did. Like, for example, the buffet he threw. I mean, just look at all the recent articles and videos attacking Trump for holding the banquet with no real merit to the arguments. I mean, some humor did come out of this, though, when Trump spelled hamburger wrong in his tweets, but the media and the Democratic Party is trying to use his misspelling of a word hamburger as a reason of why he shouldn't be in office, or why he's not, or why his reasoning for the shutdown isn't good. And they're getting angry at him for the smallest things that have no connection. They're drawing strings out of nowhere. And I mean, I'm also pretty sure other presidents have misspelled words in the past. In other non-political news, our beacon of justice, our pedo slayer, the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Hansen was arrested. And what I found is just a lot of channels have been trying to demonize him, just because they saw his arrest photo. And like what I like to call those channels are, pedophiles who should have got caught by Chris Hansen, without actually using any information. But you know what? So I'm going to try and clear things up on what actually happened with Chris Hansen. So in the summer of 2017, Hansen bought about $13,000 worth of promotional items. Like hats, shirts, mugs. From a local company, and paid for them with a check. And when the company tried to turn in that check, it bounced. And then the owner and Hansen go back and forth for a period of time. And then in April of 2018, Hansen gave the business owner another check. And that one bounced also. And so then, Chris Hansen pleaded with them that he just needed to sell his boat and that he have time to pay. But after that, the company gave him no more time to pay for it. And so if anything, he's kind of getting screwed over because he's not given any more time, even though he said he'd make the payment. And so he said he'd make the payment that afternoon, but they turned him into the police anyways. And so then, the police issued a warrant for Hansen's arrest after he refused to speak with them, and he turned himself into the police. But, Hansen hosted NBC's Dateline series To Catch a Predator that was canceled in 2008. He also hosted spin-offs like To Catch an ID Thief and To Catch a Con Man. And also you could see his new Kickstarted show, Hansen vs. Predator. And that's what the mugs and t-shirts are listed as incentives for donating. But, yeah, Hansen has been released without bond and a written promise to appear in court. And it's not even clear if Hansen has an attorney, and their phone number isn't listed if you're trying to get in contact with them. So even though the company after has inquired and asked, Hansen asked the company for more time, even just to give him that afternoon to pay, it fell on deaf ears, and they just reported him to the police. I think this show just comes to show how ineffective and outdated checks are nowadays, and when we have to, why even use checks when we have direct deposit readily available? I just wanted to comment on this because a lot of organizations, just a lot of channels in the news are trying to demonize him. Like, I know he had that affair with his wife a few years back, but this is no reason to get on, to attack him over it, because literally the company wouldn't give him any more time to even that afternoon when he said he was going to do it. I mean, I think you got to give him the benefit of the doubt, and you can't turn against him right away. And, but other than that, this is my first video, and if you want to see any more from me in the future, I'd appreciate if you leave a comment and a like, and I'll see you all next time.